Welcome back. Summer is over, so I'm really excited right now that this 2023 season, there's certainly a belief in our program about Oregon football. We're really excited about it. I'm super pumped. We've got a phenomenal staff that I'm really pumped about. Got to bring some new additions in with Will Stein, Chris Hampton, Alik Terry. They fit schematically what we want to accomplish. They're phenomenal coaches and teachers, but just as important, they fit us. They share like-minded thoughts. They want to coach the way we want to coach. Also really excited about a lot of newcomers in our program. Shared it before. We have over 50 new guys in our program that really fit what we do. I think they'll create some schematic advantages for us. They create some great matchups for us that we can take advantage of. It's no secret our theme this offseason has been good to great. Right? And we all know that good is the enemy of great, and we're trying to fight complacency every day, trying to make sure that we never stay satisfied. I'll be honest, we're not really worried about any other opponents. We're worried about ourselves. That's our focus. I know you guys will have a lot of questions about other teams, but I'm going to keep telling you that we're worried about the Oregon Ducks. Right now we believe our business has changed. We have to grow. We talked about that growth mindset in the past. What can we get better at? If we came in here and tried to do everything exactly the same as last year, certainly we have a process that we believe in. But we'd be failing ourselves. We want to figure out where we can improve, what things that we can do better, and we've made some adjustments to do that. Also we're focused on the 20-mile march. Everybody's excited about the first day of school. Everybody gets excited about the first practice, but the reality is it's about consistency. Consistency in your approach, consistency in about the way you attack things, and the reality is we also know it won't be pretty. So when it's not pretty, how are we going to win in those scenarios? We're ready for it. And we're excited to attack this season, but with that being said, we'll go ahead and open up for questions.
Batting leadoff in 2023, Rob Mosley.
Always in baseball, but I love it. Coach, a theme of your program is connection and a lot of new faces. What's been the process the last few months of just kind of getting everybody on the same page so you can start off camp on the same page?
Yeah, no secret for us. We're always looking for opportunities to connect with our guys off the field. Yesterday we went and played some paintball. Apparently I was a popular target. I took some good hits. I'm gonna have some funky bruises all over, but that was a lot of fun. We recently just climbed Spencer's Butte. Obviously there's a couple purposes to that. Spent a lot of time at our coaches' houses this off season, my house as well, just finding moments to spend time with each other outside of ball.
Right here back middle, Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor, KVAL TV. When you're talking about this slogan of going from good to great, what kind of examples can you draw upon to talk to your team about maybe past coaching experience, other sports teams, other examples? What kind of examples do you draw upon when getting in front of your team and talking about that motto?
Yeah, there's a ton of them, but really we just start within the book. Like 20-mile march is a great example of, having a consistent approach. Right, be the hedgehog, know what your strength is, right? So not everybody's gonna have strengths in every field, but what is yours and how are you gonna utilize it? I've been around a lot of teams, right? Seen a lot of teams make that same approach and take that same march. And really our focus is, we wanna use those examples, but our focus is us, right? How can we accomplish that?
Right here front, middle, Zach.
Zach Neal, Ducks Wire. There are a few rule changes this year, sometime with untimed downs, consecutive timeouts, running clock. How much impact do you think that's going to have on the game, and how much time have you spent this offseason trying to prepare for that?
Yeah, it doesn't change a ton of things in our approach, but ultimately we want to be a really educated team on what that looks like. So we'll spend a lot of time, more than anything, just educating our players on when it changes, what it looks like. I don't know if there was a scenario last year where we used 2 timeouts in a row, so I don't know that that's going to be something that's going to show up. Ultimately, I understand the idea of let's speed up the process of the game, and when it gets into 2-minute, I think all of us appreciate the rules that exist in college football.
Back left, James.
James Grubbie of the Oregonian. Dan, last week when Rob was talking to the board about your new contract, he referred to it as the first part of a bold vision. 2 questions for you on it. In your perspective, what is the second part of that vision? And from your perspective, in this level of commitment from the institution and yourself, why was the buyout throughout the duration of your deal an important component to you to show your level of commitment here?
Yeah, I'll start with the second part of that question. As a coach, all you ever really want to focus on is being in a place where you can win and you can raise your family. And since the day I got here, it's been no secret that I want to be here. I'm thrilled about the opportunity that was given to me to become the head coach at Oregon. It means a lot to me. I never take it for granted. Wake up every morning and I pinch myself, but ultimately my love for this place and what it provides for my family in a place that they can be and have some consistency. I've got 3 kids. They've lived in 8 states. You know, it's nice to be able to see them graduate from the same school. And when you know there is a bold vision for what's next, when you know that there's opportunities for more things down the road, you see the commitment and the alignment of our university. As a coach, you're willing to sign up for that because you know winning, you know, that's a priority here, right? And we have what it takes to win. So when we have what it takes to win and you can have some consistency for your family, I think that shows how, you know, again, back to my opening statement, how much belief there is in Oregon and what we're about to achieve. You know, the other part of that question is what's coming next. There's a lot, so just sit back and watch.
Front middle, Eric.
Yeah, Dan, I'm curious, you mentioned the mantra, just on that follow-up. What goes into determining kind of what you want the season to be like and picking those kind of words and kind of what conversations go behind that?
Yeah, again, you know, ultimately words are just that. They're words. It's not really about words, it's about action, you know, but I'm always looking for this isn't a cookie cutter deal. It doesn't work. There's 131 different teams in college football and FBS football. You know, we're not looking for the cookie cutter example. If you're rolling out the exact same material every single year for your players, it can become mundane, and you're probably not attacking your strengths or your weaknesses. So I know I mentioned before a SWOT analysis that we did. We go back and we evaluate what are we really good at, where can we improve, and ultimately we felt like it's time for us to take that step.
Front right, Bill.
Hey Dan, Bill Orr with the Oregonian. Hearing what you're saying about your family absolutely makes sense, and that buyout is, you know, it's pretty eye-popping. But around college football and in here as well, you know, we've heard coaches say, you know, I'm in, I'm committed, this is it for the long term, and then opportunities arise and coaches leave. So why should people believe that you are here for the long term?
You got $20 million? I mean, look, I don't mind, you know, we talk about when you cook breakfast, right? The chicken, right? You pop out an egg, he's committed. But the pig, like he's all in, right? That bacon, it takes a little bit more. Coaches, so often it's not fair in college football, in my opinion, when a university makes a commitment to a coach, but a coach doesn't make a commitment to that university. I want to be here, right? And believe or not believe, whatever you want. I mean, there's no secret that this is what I want. I've said before, the grass isn't always greener. Like, I have everything I want here, right? And there's a vision for this to continue to grow. We're able to get elite players. I think that's no secret. As long as we can continue to recruit at a high level, develop, and continue to have world-class facilities, continue to push the bar in everything that we do, everything's here that's necessary for us to be successful. So it's something I want to sign up for. It's not something I shy away from.
Is that a Missouri saying?
What's that? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Back left, James.
Dan, to get to kind of the conference realignment discussion, because since Media Day, obviously some things have changed. Talk about what's next. There's questions about what's next. And yes, you focus on this season and camp and those things, but why should staying in the Pac-12 or Pac-10 when you don't even know who one of those opponents might be next season? Why is that best for Oregon going forward?
And my focus is on this team, and you already answered the question. You already knew what I was going to say. Like, I'm worried about first camp practice. That's what I'm really focused on. We get to play elite competition in this league. I'm excited. As long as we get to play great teams, that's what I'm excited for. And I think that's really clear in this conference. The teams that we're lined up against, we get to go against great guys. It's the year of the quarterback. We're going to get to face great ones every single week. But my focus is no further than game one, right? And really practice one.
Front right, Joe.
Hey, Coach, Joe Freeman, the Oregonian. Looking at Trayshawn Holden, a couple things. A, how would you evaluate what he's going to bring to this team? And then, you know, B, looking back in February and how that situation was handled. In hindsight, how do you feel about the way you guys handled that? Maybe that was a lesson moving forward, I don't know.
Yeah, you operate with the information you have at hand, right? And, you know, I think we're always going to put the best interest of our players first, but based on the information you have to utilize that information. And certainly it's a learning opportunity for every single one of us, but it doesn't mean the information would have created a different approach. You just want to make sure that you continue to get accurate information. What I'm excited about with Trayshawn, he's got great size. He's a big catch radius. He's picking up our system well. I think he's proven he can play at a high level. At other places, I'm excited to see him play at a high level here.
Front middle, Zach.
This is the last time with USC on the schedule and potentially UCLA if you play them down the road. With them going to the Big Ten, is there conversations or is there a desire to maybe schedule them non-conference games down the road? Have you guys talked about that at all?
I'm not concerned about that right now. I'm worried about this season right now. So no, that hasn't been a conversation piece for me.
Front middle, Eric.
understand you're keeping kind of everything right in front of you. So to that point, practice starts in a couple of days. What excites you about that, and maybe just this team as a whole?
Yeah, like why do you get into coaching, right? I certainly enjoy the games, but I enjoy the practices as well because that's where you see a lot of the growth. And for me, being on the grass, there's nothing more fun, right? You enjoy the relationships you build with the players, but these guys are excited to see what their hard work looks like. We've had a lot of guys change their bodies this offseason, add great weights, shed some weight, get stronger in the weight room. You don't really get to see those results until you get out there on the field. So, and then figuring out what we have. Like I said, we got a lot of new pieces of this team, and it's great on paper, but what's it look like whenever it's out there on the field?
Brenna, in the middle, back.
Brenna Green, Coin 6. Lots of talks, a lot of talk about the quarterbacks in this league this year, but is there anything that's underrated you think that people aren't talking about that's going to be especially difficult about the Pac-12 in particular?
I can't answer that because I don't spend a lot of time worrying about what other people are talking about. It's a great league. We get, again, you mentioned it, we've got great quarterback play. I think the variety of systems that you see week in and week out, there's some really good coaches in this league, and it's challenging to prep and train for the variety of things that you'll see. So that's an exciting piece, but outside of that, I'm not sure what everybody's talking about.
Back left, James.
Dan, going back to Media Day or even today, you've referenced obviously a lot of the books, the podcasts, the sayings, the mottos that you've employed over the years. Do you want the players to read and consume from the same well? Do you want them to go to the book Good to Great? Do you want them to listen to Gladwell and Mawad and Collins, or do you want to just be the one to pass on the message and come from you, or do you want them to actually take on reading the book if you're going to reference the book?
We go through the pieces that I really have an interest in them seeing, but certainly I want our players to find what excites them and find what motivates them, and if they have somewhere they can expand some knowledge, I want them to tap into it.
Front left, Tyson.
Hey Dan, Tyson Alger with I-5 Corridor. This last couple of weeks, we've seen kind of a reemergence of the discussion of the value of running backs, especially at the NFL level. What do you anticipate the future of college running backs looking like? Are guys going to want to, are elite athletes going to want to still keep playing running back, knowing that that might not be the most, valuable position for them in the long term?
Yeah, I think so, because they like touching the ball, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that probably starts in Little League, right? You want to score touchdowns, you like to be the running back. And you play for the love of the game. There's a lot of, lost sight on it. At the end of the day, you want players that play for the love of the game. The guys that love football, love hard work. We're lucky to have that here. We have a great running back group. This conference has a lot of great running backs in it as well, but I think you'll keep seeing guys that want to touch the ball. If you have guys that want to touch the ball, they're going to want to play running back.
Way in the back, cameras, Matt.
Matt Green, 24/7 Sports. In the spring, you added a couple receivers to the mix. Now Dreon Dickey's here for fall camp. Just what are the expectations for him? What does he kind of bring to the table that makes that room different for you guys?
Yeah, again, I've said it a bunch, but if you're good enough, you're old enough. So we're going to see, right? We haven't been out there in pads yet. We haven't been out there running routes. Obviously, he's a talented player, as well as a lot of our young players on our team. So excited to see what he can bring. This film was great in high school. We want to see it carry over to what it can look like in college. It's a different game in college. He's got some work to do.
Back left, Ronald.
Ronald Clark, KMTR. As far as putting your stamp on the program, year one seemed like it was about, establishing your culture. What's sort of the goal of Camp 2 with you?
Say again, what's our what?
What's sort of your goal as far as putting your stamp on the program? What's your goal for Camp 2?
Yeah, not so much about our stamp. My goal is for our team to be the absolute best team they can possibly be, right? So in 2023, what's that look like? I'm focused more on the process than I am the result, right? Are we able to execute this play at the highest level possible? Are we able to be the best conditioned team? Do we have a level of toughness, right, that shows up when you watch us play? Like, those are all the things that we want to make sure we can achieve in fall camp.
Back left, Cameron.
Over here, Dan, back in the cameras, Cameron Derby, KZI. Over at Media Day, you were talking a little bit about how as you enter year 2, you're starting to notice the players kind of echoing your message to the newer players. I was just kind of wondering, as fall camp gets started, kind of a two-parter, what are there any key points you want to hear from those veteran players coming to the new players in that messaging? And are there a couple players maybe that you've noticed doing that a little more maybe than others this spring and summer?
I certainly couldn't just name a couple because we've had a bunch, right? And that's one of the biggest things I see in this team compared to last team is how many guys are vocal about what they want to see accomplished and what standard they want held. So really excited about that and what that looks like, moving forward. It's not necessarily about one theme; it's about consistency again, right? It's about hard work, day over day, time over time, and it's not just the stuff that happens on the field; it's the off the field, right? It's the prehab, rehab. It's what you're doing nutritionally. It's what you're doing in the classroom, right? All those things add up.
Front right, Joe.
Coach, when you look at the change with your new OC, how do you envision the offense looking this year? How do you envision it being different, or just the identity and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think the DNA traits of who we are is it's Oregon football. So we're going to continue to do a lot of things we do well. I think all great coaches are able to utilize their players and lean into the strengths of their players. I mean, I think that goes back to being a good high school coach. You have to adapt to what you have each year. So what I'm excited about is we're going to still have some of those same traits. We're still going to be a great team at running the ball. But we're still going to take the opportunities to push the ball downfield. There's no secret we have a really good quarterback. We're going to lean on him. We're going to use the people around him. We have some inexperience on the O-line, but we also have some experience in other places. It's more about getting experience together, right? We're able to create some of that consistency. But Will brings in a lot of great ideas. He's been a part of a variety of systems that I want to see us be able to institute within the framework of what we already do, and that's already happening.
Do you, with your defense background, how does it really evolve there? Do you have a lot of autonomy, or do you kind of work in that?
Yeah, we're all on the same page. We spend a lot of time talking through our process together. But certainly, I think you want to give your coaches responsibilities and then be excited with the results that they come up with, right? So I want our coaches to coach. Will, along with the rest of the offensive staff, it's a collaborative effort. It's no one person on their own. But he's done a phenomenal job of gelling those guys together, and certainly I'm popping in there to share my thoughts frequently.
Front middle, Zach.
Terrence Ferguson missed a little bit of time at the end of spring, but you said he thought he'd be on a track to be full go by when camp comes. Has he stayed on that timeline? Do you expect him to be out there with the guys this week?
Yeah, he's done a great job this summer. We'll continue to assess it. Obviously, safety of our players is priority number one. You don't want to rush a guy back, but yeah, he's certainly looked good this summer and is tracking in the right direction.
Front right, Bill.
Hey, Dan. With the trajectory Bo was on before the injury and the trajectory the team was on, really, how much do you think or what kind of impact has that had on him kind of between seasons in terms of the way he's approached this season mentally and from a motivation standpoint? Do you think that sticks with him?
What kind of impact has his trajectory had?
No, I'm sorry, that was horrible phrasing. The injury and kind of just the way the regular season ended, when it looked like you guys were going a certain direction, then obviously fall off when he gets hurt, ended on a great note in the Holiday Bowl. But how did that injury and kind of the way the regular season ended, do you think, affect him and impact the way he's approaching it?
I think Bo's always had a great approach. I think he's hungry. There's a reason he came back, right? He has some goals that he wants to accomplish. He saw a vision for where we're at now. Has his approach changed? No, he came in with that approach, right? So I don't think any of that's really assessed it. Now, what I think he's continued to be cognizant of is, okay, how can I make sure that I'm available and present? I think that's every player on our team. What can I continue to do to push myself from a rehab standpoint, from the things that I can do off the field to help control that? But some of that stuff you can't control, right? You got to go play the game.
Middle and back, Trevor.
You touched on it a little bit, but different O-line this year, losing some quality starts there, but adding a couple experienced transfers and a new coach. What are you hoping to see from that group this fall when it comes to ultimately making your decisions of who's going to line up there come September 2nd?
Yeah, we'll make our decisions based on who the best group is and who the best players are, right? And there might be more than one player that can contribute to that. There might be more than one player that can help. I think we will. It's about a group effort, but a lot of that stuff I've already seen, right? I think Coach Terry's done a phenomenal job of creating some consistency and toughness in that group. These guys are getting extra. They're spending more time up here on their own. Really, again, player-led, and that's something that excites me. They realize that they don't have the experience together, so how are they creating that?
Back left, James.
Dan, just wanted to confirm one personnel update. It looked like on the roster that J.J. Greenfield's no longer with the program.
That's correct.
All the way in the back, Matt.
How do you handle leadership, guys? Player-led practices. Do you approach guys this offseason saying, hey, it's expected you're going to be a leader, or is that something you want to happen organically? How do you approach that?
Yeah, organically is part of it. But you have to train leadership, right? Just like you train a play, just like you train coaches, you have to train that. And you have to make sure you can let guys know that they have that opportunity. What we don't do is define who can be a leader. I don't care if you're a freshman or a senior. I don't care if you're a 3-year starter, if you've never started a game. Like, leadership's based on who's going to follow you, right? So we have to give our guys the tools. We continue to mold that through, our Get Real programs and stuff that we do outside of ball. And then we look for opportunities to challenge guys and where they can push people to be, better versions of themselves and push themselves to be better. But I think that develops within your program.
Back left, Ronald.
There's been some shuffling, in the quarterback room. What do you see, the role of that backup quarterback, and what does that competition look like?
Well, you want to make sure that when he comes in, you can win games, right? And there isn't a drop off. The expectation is if they train to become the next guy up, they train to become the guy that's on the field. And, I think we've all seen great examples of that, winning games and winning down the stretch because of that play. So we expect not to have a drop off when there's going to be more than just one position, right? There's going to be injuries this year; those will exist. And what we want is our next guy to be up and ready, right? And that's the expectation across the board.
Is that competition open to
All the way-
everyone in that room, or?
Yeah.
Is that
We compete across all positions. Let's compete.
All the way in the back.
Paulina with KPTV. I know you touched on this a little bit, but as far as the Pac-12, can I just get your initial reaction when you heard about the news of Colorado leaving? And does these changes change the approach or your attitude as far as coming this season?
Not a big reaction. I mean, I'm trying to remember what they want to affect this conference. I don't remember. You remember them winning anything? I don't remember them winning anything.
That's it. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.